Hello everyone and welcome to another Thomas video. So today we're taking a look at Goyf Moon deck in Thomas format. So now that we got to Mythic, we can kind of mess around a little bit. And this is a deck that I've been meaning to try, but haven't had a chance to do so because I was playtesting all the tournament decks that happened last week. So now we can finally take a look at this deck today. We played a similar deck to this, which is mono red with the Pyrogoyf, and honestly, that deck was okay, but the problem with the mono red is that the 3-drops are pretty bad. You got the Magus of Moon, you got the Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and the Blood Moon, but then you don't have a really good 3-drops that aren't a legendary. So something like LAKEY comes to mind, or something like Tersa. They're okay, but the problem is they're legendary, so I don't really like that. So by going green, now you have access to something like Weary Zone Guard, which is really good because now you can take advantage of Strip Mines in the deck, which kind of complements the Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon, because if you're an opponent and you expect moons to come down, well, you're gonna fetch a basic, right? Which means you can Strip Mine their basics away. And this can also happen on stack as well, which is great because if opponent has a bunch of fetch lands, they're not willing to crack because of the strip mines. Well, now if you play Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon on stack, they're going to be fetching a basic. After they fetch a basic, before the moons resolve, you can just get rid of their basics with the strip mine. Even though the strip mine actually doesn't work post the Blood Moon on the battlefield, this is actually a great play pattern where you can actually lock your opponent down very convincingly, since the opponent can't even fetch a basics to play around the Blood Moon, since you can just blow it up on stack. And compared to before, we're also not going to be playing something like the Chalice of the Void in the deck, and that's because there's a lot of Deathray Shamans at the moment. There's a lot of Deathray Shamans, there's a lot of Chrome Moxes. Locking your opponent down for X=1 doesn't really accomplish much, especially if you're going second and they already resolve something like a Deathray Shaman. And especially in a meta where a lot of the threats are coming from 3-drops, being able to kill the Deathray Shaman on turn 1 is actually pretty important. And with having Chalice of the Void in the deck, well, you can't really play something like Lightning Bolt. So because of that, we're not playing Chalice of the Void, and instead we're going to be playing 4 copies of Lightning Bolt, and we're also going to be playing 4 copies of Pyrogoyf, which is going to be our big removal spell against giant creatures, which is actually something that the red has been missing for the longest time. So along with the Pyrogoyf and the Fury and Lightning Bolt, our creature matchups should be completely solved. And hopefully against combo decks, we can lock opponents down with something like a Strip Mine or Blood Moon, things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this deck does. So having said that, I'll be hopping over to some Thomas BO3 to show you guys how the deck does. So let's hop on the road. All right. Well, this is a kind of a weird one because of a forest. Should I still keep it? Because, I mean, technically we can go into Weary Zone Guard, but yeah, it's not as good, right? When you don't have a fetch land. Oh my god. Oh my god. Also, Mother of Ruin. Mother of Ruin? And the basic planes? Well, my Blood Moon is completely useless, apparently. Also, what is going on over there? Matchmaking, am I right? Matchmaking, am I right? So we need a Fury. We need a Fury. We need a Goyf, Lightning Bolt. Not the Blood Moons. This is pay 1 life, so it actually bypasses the 1 ring. Can you believe it? That's fine. Thank you for the life. I love it. Lightning Bolt, where are you at? And Fury. So how are we gonna beat a Voice of the Blessed? I could strip mine, worry zone guard. So strip mine. I'm gonna be taking a lot of damage though. I don't know why I did that. Because I'm gonna be taking a lot of damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could have just played the One Ring, but I thought I just wanted to set up some lands so that potentially like opponent can't play another card here. Yeah, this is a lot of damage, and we still haven't found a Fury, so might be a wrap. Might be a wrap. I mean, it's not over yet because I can... Let's see... I can't believe this is the first game we're playing against. So One Ring comes out. So we do have a Lightning Bolt. We need to somehow make opponent like tap out with the Mother of Ruin. Like, I don't know what it's gonna take. Like, it needs to be like another like Fury, right? We need like double Furies or something like that here. Double Fury would potentially win me the game here. They keep drawing lands though. This Voice of the Blessed is gonna become indestructible soon enough. I think it's over. Like, how do we beat an indestructible Voice of the Blessed, right? Like, I just don't think we're gonna be able to. It's an 11-11. How are we gonna beat that? It is an 11-11. Lightning Bolt, Lightning Bolt. Another Pyrogoyf. The thing is, as soon as the Voice of the Blessed gets another counter, we lose the game. So how do we prevent that? I guess we attack. We have to attack with both. See how they block. So opponent didn't block. So this is coming out 100%. I still haven't played a land. The thing is, I can't draw anymore. We just failed to find a Fury this game. So there's one more One Ring left in the deck. I think we're just dead. I think we just have to draw here. And get it. Yeah, it would be very lucky for us to draw another One Ring here. But I didn't have a choice. Because I needed to stop opponent from gaining another counter on the Voice of the Blessed. You know, Chalice of the Void would go so hard this matchup, but I don't have it. I don't have it. Alright. I mean... just attack all. See what happens. Maybe I should have drawn first since this is my last turn. Making a bunch of mistakes. Would that have changed anything? A Fury? I think it would have. Because then the Voice of the Blessed has to block. And maybe there was a lethal somehow. Like, if the Voice of the Blessed blocked the Wary Zone Guard, they would have taken 5 damage here. But then I would need to play triple Goyf, so I guess it wasn't really lethal. Yeah, so it wouldn't have mattered. Okay, so very, very bad matchup from the get-go. We are playing against a deck that doesn't care about our Blood Moons. I think I still have to play some Maguses because I don't have enough cards to bring in. Honestly, all things considered, we do have a lot of board wipes. 7 at that. I think we can stop opponent from doing all that, in my opinion. So I do have to get rid of that. Ooh. I think I wanna just attack with this. We stole a Voice of the Blessed. We're gonna go with the Shepherd. I think I'm gonna play Fable here. And then play the Fury out next turn. Ooh, we also got a Goyf. We also got a Goyf there. Let's say I attack with a Ragavan. Then I can play the Fable, but then I don't get to play my Fury. I don't think that's a good deal. Seems like they also have a Solitude here. They just drew into a Solitude. So we don't want that. It does seem like they have something. It could be a Felia. Right? It could be a Felia here. Let's test if it's gonna be a Felia. Alright, so... It's... I think it's like an Ephemerate. It's probably an Ephemerate Solitude. Thinking about it. That also lands. Okay. Shepherd again. It definitely seems like they have an Ephemerate. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. Kind of a surprise. So if I want to force out an Ephemerate, I probably should just play the Wary Zone Guard right now. Because then they just go down on the card for free. Right? Perfect. This is really good because now, you know, the Kikijiki lives. We have to also destroy all these cards. Let's see if they double block. No. Interesting. I could just Pyrogoyf here too. I think I just Pyrogoyf. So opponent has 4 mana. It was a swords. It was another swords. Wow. Okay, perfect. Just get them out of the Shepherd range. And I'll just play the Ragavan because I can just play Fury next turn. And this should be game. Fury. I mean, if we can do that again, that'd be wonderful. Boom. Alright, we have a Pyroplasm. Got a lot of good stuff here. I didn't think they would be playing a strip mine. But it kind of makes sense. I think I'm just going to go Pyroclasm here. Yep, I'm gonna go Pyroclasm. I don't know what to get rid of. Is it Ragavan? Maybe it's Ragavan. Because next turn I play Fable. Into Pyrogoyf. Maybe I should have thought about opponent having another strip mine there, so that's my bad. Then we could have Ragavan here, which would have been sick, actually. This is definitely my bad. I should have gotten rid of a Pyrogoyf, which was a 4-mana card. Yeah, if I lose this one, it's on me, definitely. 4-mana card coming out. Yeah, this is definitely my fault. This is definitely my fault. Definitely wouldn't have happened if I just played it correctly. Maybe we're not that bad. Like, we're not in that bad of a situation since we have a Fury. Alright, we haven't drawn a land in like 4 turns, so hopefully we draw a land. Thank you. I should just play this out right now because I want to Lightning Bolt and then attack with the Ragavan. If they didn't have a removal spell, that is. Okay, we're drawing lands, which is good. I mean, we still have Triple Fury, Brotherhood's End, and a Pyroclasm. Like, I feel like we should be in a pretty decent spot. Never mind, they drew their 3rd strip mine. Why didn't they just play their Shepherd, by the way? I feel like that would have been a pretty sick play. So this last card seems like it's like a Solitude. They're letting this play. I feel like it could be a Solitude. Yep, it's a Solitude. Alright. We have a very sick turn here with the Mink Skin Boo. They can't Solitude and Ephemerate here, so...
Boo and I are ready to rumble.
I think I'm in a pretty good spot.
Bigger is always. Oh, look at us. We are.
I'm just gonna tag with one of them in case it's Ophelia. I'm still not in a good spot, so it was Ophelia. Let's kill it. I should have actually fired off this lightning bolt on their upkeep, by the way, because they could have had another Ophelia.
It was us what got their bums kicked.
So we got a Fury. 4, 7, 9. And then play one ring. I don't think that's too bad. The problem is, if opponent plays another, like, gets another land, they can get a Shepherd down. That's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. I think we just keep attacking and then play one ring. So this is our first one ring. And we're almost at the half of our deck. I think I'm okay with drawing. I think the game's gonna be over soon. Okay, so it was a flute. So we're taking 1 damage per turn. Attack. So even if Ophelia comes down, we don't die here. Wow. What a close game. I kind of like that Mother of Ruin edition in the mono white, by the way. No interactions. No lands. Unfortunately, I think the one rings have to go. That was a brutal mulligan, by the way. Absolutely brutal. So like a Mardu energy. What did I just see? What did I just see? We stole Chthonian Nightmare. A village, right? Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. I think I just pass. I might have to Ragavan the Fury. I mean, I might have to Fury the Ragavan away. That's kind of annoying. Right? Interesting. They passed. Ancient Tomb. Perfect. I'm so glad they didn't take away the forest there. So, they only had red mana. I think I'm just gonna play the Fury here on the Ragavan. Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Bravo. I can't believe the beta on the strip mine on the Ancient Tomb actually worked out. I thought they were gonna go for the forest, because so I was kind of worried because we only play one forest, you know? So we're gonna want some Disruptor Flutes. They play Chthonian Nightmare and probably Goblin Bombardment as well. Also, Mardu with the Strip Mine. Let's also play a Nice and Source. Take away the Ragavans. Gotta cut 2 more cards. Gotta cut 2 more cards. Maybe going second, we can cut a Chrome Mox. Since we're not playing against like a combo deck, I'll cut a Pyrogoyf. Does that make sense? I feel like all the other cards are a little bit better. Okay, Chrome Mox on the Pyrogoyf. So play the Wooded Foothill first into turn 2 Chrome Mox on the Pyrogoyf. And then Ancient Tomb 1 ring. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. Let's just kill this. Sure. All right, so let's grab a mountain because it's just gonna get strip mined away, right? Let's just grab a mountain here into 1 ring. Okay, they went for Ancient Tomb. And then drawn out. That's a lot of lands. Wow. If opponents saw my hand, they might not have surrendered. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, this hand looks pretty deadly. Turn 1 Ragavan. Into a strip mine. What's not to like? Or actually, if opponent's going turn 1 looting, maybe it's just better to Magus. Polluted Delta. Yeah, let's just Magus. Alright. Looking good. I can't believe they got rid of Chrome Mox there. They had something when I played the Blood Moon. So if opponent reanimates, they might actually die from a double lightning bolt. Wait, why did they get rid of a troll? Alright, so opponent plays a troll. This is a reanimator. Unlicensed Hearse is good. Thorn of Amethyst can be good. I think I'd rather just have a Disruptor Flute, making things like reanimate harder to cast. Maybe we want like more Unlicensed Hearse. I think the cards that have to go here are the following. Probably Fury. Maybe a copy of a Fable. I don't think Blood Moon's gonna work anymore. They're a 2-color deck. Right, we have a turn 1 Disruptor Flute. Dark Ritual. Into a Goyf. Dark Ritual into a Goyf. Definitely a bit problematic. I'll go Ragavan. Wow. Really? That's kind of surprising. Right? That's actually kind of surprising that they decided not to attack with the Barragoyf there. Now they're gonna attack. Am I supposed to call Disruptor Flute on Reanimate here? I think I do. They didn't grab this. That's so strange. Looting is actually really good here. Because I have so many dead cards. So how do we kill this? It's always out of range, right? Hmm. Yeah, it's always out of range. I need to like play double Goyf or something. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 potentially. Opponent goes for the Fable. I think I just have to keep letting them attack me. Ooh, so we can technically kill it now. We can kill it now. Okay. Attack. Maybe we'll get a reanimate. Ooh, a Thoughtseize. That's a pretty good one. So they did have a reanimate. I think we just take away opponent's reanimate since they have a dark ritual here. Very nice. All right, we went 4-0 today. Only got time for 4 games, 4 matches. This deck was actually way better than I expected. Compared to like last time, the last time I played Gruul, we don't have things like Chalice of the Void. And the reason for that is because I felt that like if I went second and I have a Chalice of the Void, it was kind of bad. It was kind of bad. And then opponent went something like Deathbright Shaman. Now they can kind of solve their mana problems even if the Blood Moon comes down. And currently a lot of the decks at the moment are kind of centered around playing a really, really powerful 3-drop. If opponent went like Deathbright Shaman into a 3-drop, your Chalice kind of becomes kind of useless. Unless you can somehow deal with the Deathbright Shaman. But the problem is, if you're putting something like a Chalice in, you're incentivized to not have Lightning Bolt, right? Which is another problem here. So now you have less ways of getting rid of a Deathray Shaman on turn 1 if you have Chalice of the Void, which honestly is kind of bad. So we're playing this version without the Chalice here, and it worked pretty well. Granted, we played against kind of an off-meta decks today. We played against a mono white. We played against a mirror match that had a Chalice of the Void. And we played against a Mardu Energy that was kind of a different variant of Mardu Energy. The version opponent was playing was a little bit like more into sacrifice. So it was definitely not the norm either. And then we played against a Reanimator. The Reanimator has been kind of popping up recently, which kind of makes me think maybe we should have another copy of a Unlicensed Source instead of a Disruptor Flute. Or, yeah, actually, instead of a Vexing Bubble, let's have Unlicensed Source. Or maybe Ghost Vacuum, since we have 2 copies of Unlicensed Source already. So, yeah, I would do something like this again if I were to play again. But I felt like the deck was pretty good. I thought I was going to lose the first match because we didn't have something like a Chalice Void, but, you know, with the double Pyroclasms and Brotherhood's End and Fury, like, these cards together just kind of beats any creature decks, like small creature decks, even energy decks, right? If you're seeing those a lot, this deck is going to be pretty good. If you're seeing a lot of Reanimators, probably not, because the Rakdos Reanimator doesn't care about Blood Moons, the Magus of the Moon. We did get kind of lucky since opponent didn't have a Troll. Other than that, one issue I had was that we only played one forest. So if opponent actually recognizes that you only play one forest, they can definitely strip mine this, and then your blood moons and, you know, things like that becomes a little bit awkward. And we also play a lot more fetch lands than the fetchable cards, right? 3, 4, 5. We only have 5. We only have 5 cards to fetch, and we only have 6 fetch lands, which can be a little bit awkward. It didn't come up once in 4 matches where I drew into a fetch land and didn't have a land to fetch, but it did come up at least twice where the last fetch in my hand fetched a last land in my deck. So that did actually come up twice, which is a little bit scary, right? But as you can kind of see, we have 4 strip mines, 4 ancient tomb, and a copy of a gemstone cavern. So we actually don't have any more room to play another land here. We are already playing 24, right? 20 here, and then 24 here. You could potentially go up another forest and then get rid of another card by playing a 25 land deck. It's not so bad playing a 25 because we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So maybe it's not that bad. You could even play like a Surveil land instead of a forest here. But the problem is like, what do you cut? If you're going to change anything, you can cut something. But in my opinion, if something works, don't change it. Even though it looks a little bit weird, having only one copy of forest in a Blood Moon deck. Granted, we also have things like Chrome Mox to actually exile our Wary Zone Guard or Minxing and Boo to get our green source as well. There's also things like treasures, Fable, Ragavan. So maybe it's actually not as bad as I thought, but it's definitely shaky. But yeah, I think the deck was pretty fun. If you're into this stuff, I think you will enjoy it. I think the problem with this deck is probably going to be something like mono black reanimators, or something like a Golgari, even Golgari mid-range, because opponent had a Goyf, right? Opponent had a Goyf, but because the Pyrogoyf and Goyf grows at the same rate and they have more toughness, this doesn't kill, you know? So you have to actually combo the Pyrogoyf with something like a Fury or Lightning Bolt to kill the Goyf, which is kind of a pain. So I think what's gonna come down versus something like a Golgari mid-range against the Goyf decks, things like that, I think it's going to come down to, did you get your Blood Moon out or Magus of the Moon out on turn 1 or 2 before they get the Goyf out, or they get a Goyf out but they don't have any other creatures, or they're kind of locked on lands. So if you can just deal with one Goyf after setting these up, I think you're gonna be good. And obviously playing Blood Moon with the Magus of the Moon with you know, Strip Mine is very powerful, because the Blood Moon and the Magus of the Moon kind of incentivizes opponent to fetch basics, but then you have something like a Strip Mine. So I think this is a very powerful combo. So yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.